The extent of the devastation became apparent in Serbia too, as waters receded in some of the worst-hit areas to reveal homes toppled or submerged in mud, trees felled and villages strewn with the rotting corpses of livestock. And the regional death toll reached more than 40, after the heaviest rainfall since records began 120 years ago caused rivers to burst their banks and triggered hundreds of landslides. And the consequences are terrifying, Bosnian Foreign Minister Zlatko Lagumdzija told a news conference. The physical destruction is not less than the destruction caused by the war. And Lagumdzija said more than 100,000 houses and other buildings in Bosnia were no longer fit to use and that over 1 million people had been cut off from clean water supplies. And, during the war, many people lost everything, he said. Today, again they have nothing. And his remarks threw into sharp relief the extent of the challenge now facing the cash-strapped governments of both Bosnia and Serbia. And Serbian Prime Minister Aleksandar Vučić said the cost in Serbia would run to hundreds of millions of euros. President Tomislav Nikolić appealed for outside aid. And we expect huge support, because not many countries have experienced such a catastrophe, he said. And even as the crisis eased in some areas, a new flood wave from the swollen river Sava threatened others, notably Serbia's largest power plant, the Lagumdzija complex, 30 kilometers, 18 miles, southwest of the capital Belgrade. And in Bosnia, Assistant Security Minister Samir Ajic told Reuters that up to 35,000 people had been evacuated by helicopter, boat and truck. As many as 500,000 had left their homes of their own accord, he said, in the kind of human displacement not seen since more than 1 million were driven out by ethnic cleansing in the Bosnian War 2 decades ago. And power plant and at least 25,000 people have been evacuated in Serbia, but many more are believed to have fled the flooding. And hundreds of volunteers in the Serbian capital filled sandbags and stacked them along the banks of the Sava. Police issued an appeal for more bags. And soldiers and energy workers toiled through the night to build barriers of sandbags to keep the water back from the Lagumdzija complex and from the coal-fired Kostolac power plant, east of Belgrade. And Dina Tricevic, a union spokeswoman at Serbia's EPS power utility, said some workers at the Lagumdzija plant had worked 3 days with barely a break because relief teams could not reach the plant. And the plant should be safe now, she told Reuters. We've done all we could. Now it's in the hands of God. And the plant provides roughly half of Serbia's electricity. Parts of it had already been shut down as a precaution, but it would have to be powered down completely if the waters breached the defenses. And flooding had already caused considerable damage, estimated by the government at over 100 million euros, $140 million, to the Kolubara coal mine that supplies the plant. And authorities in Bosnia issued a fresh warning about the danger of landmines left over from the war and now dislodged by the flooding. And in the North Bosnian region of Mogli, barely a single house was left untouched by the waters, which receded to leave a tide of mud and debris. And in the village of Dinjapolja, where Muslim Bosniaks returned in 1995 to homes burned or shelled during the war, Hashidza Muhic swept the mud from the hallway of her house. Dark lines on the walls indicated the water had reached some 3 meters high. And I thought the war was as bad as it can get, but it can get worse, Muhic said. I just pray to God that we can save our minds, because first we were hit by the war and now this. $1 equals 0.7297 euros, and additional reporting by Ivana Sekular and Matt Robinson in Belgrade, Maja Zuvela in Sarajevo, Igor Ilic and Zoran Radosavljevic in Zagreb, writing by Matt Robinson, editing by Alison Williams.